Hey guys, welcome back to Starcastic Remarks alongside James and alongside Chris. My name is Ryan. We are the official Dallas Stars podcast of THPN. Thank you to our sponsor, DraftKings Sportsbook. Next time you are there, use that code THPN. That lets them know we are the ones that sent you. Once again, THPN for that code there. Guys, we are getting closer and closer and closer. And now we have finally arrived. This week, the Dallas Stars will finally be playing hockey that is not necessarily meaningful, but nonetheless, it is actual Dallas Stars hockey. We just finished watching the two prospect games over the weekend with some of the guys that are trying to get into the AHL a little bit. It kind of looks like with Justin Hurtel and some other guys. But we're going to get into training camp here today, and we're going to break down anything and everything there is to talk about. We'll kind of basically glaze over the biggest storylines of the offseason, and we're going to get into a couple of other things as well as we move through this episode. But first things first, how are you guys doing today?
I'm doing great. Fun, sarcastic remarks fact. When he is not alongside me and James, his name is not Ryan. It's something else. Guess in the comments.
So what is my name then, Chris?
Guess in the comments. I'm not revealing that.
Oh my gosh. You just had to start that. No, we're going to get like a whole bunch of comments about that. Okay. James, how are you doing?
Well, I'm doing good, but I got so bored earlier that I was looking at stats from last season, and I found two very interesting stats. We're going to do the lame one first. Do you know who has the most empty net points from last year's regular season?
I know the answer because I saw, so I can't say. But Chris,
was it Mikko?
It was Mikko Rantanen. Okay, here's the more fun one. The Dallas Stars are the only team who have 3 players in the top 20 of even strength points.
Very specific.
Very specific, but very good. And those are all players that will be on the roster this year too. So that team's good at even strength.
So, I mean, I'm guessing one of them is Wyatt Johnston, but who are the other two?
No, it's actually not Wyatt Johnston.
Really? Okay, that's actually surprising to me. Who are they?
Mikko.
Jason Robertson, Mikko, and Matt Duchene.
Duchene. Oh, I guess I could.
Crazy year last year. The playoffs makes you
year.
Forget he was dominant during the regular season.
He was 82 points in 82 games, basically. So, okay. Well, we've got a ton of things to talk about here, but we're just basically going into this season, guys. It feels like for a lot of people that this team is going to take a step back in terms of quality of roster on the ice. And I think that is fair to say. Where are y'all at on that before we jump into any other storylines?
I mean, we talked about all offseason. I think the depth is not as potent offensively. They've backfilled that with some more grit and some more defense on the fourth line, especially. And their top end is much heavier, and it's going to be utilized a lot more like a normal NHL roster is, where your top guys are going to end up getting 20 minutes a night. I think that's going to be much more normal for the Stars this season, and less of that rolling 4 lines that we saw under DeBoer.
Yeah, and actually DeBoer being fired, whereas it was because of kind of the Otter situation and how that made the rest of the players feel. It ends up being a great time to move off of them too, because we are moving away from all 4 lines being kind of dominant. And that's the way that DeBoer loves to play. He loves that all 4 on the ice, just rolling constantly. And the Stars aren't going to be able to play that way this year. They won't be able to compete if they do that.
Okay, so this is completely against the process of what I was thinking, but it kind of does at the same time. The biggest storyline, obviously, of the offseason is the fact that Glenn Gulutzan does return to Dallas as the head coach. That was the biggest thing with Pete DeBoer being fired. It looks like he's going to have a couple of mandates here. They're going to be a notch more physical. There's going to be some tweaks to the power play, maybe to the defensive structure a little bit. And then the assistants for the Dallas Stars are all new. except for Elaine Nazardine. So Jeff Reese, I guess he still, technically returns as well as the goaltending coach. But Neil Graham comes in as the quote unquote power play guy, forwards coach. And then David Pelletier also comes as the eye in the sky after we lose Donskoi. Forgot his name. He went to Hockey Canada. But regardless, so what changes do we expect to see at camp compared to what we've seen with the last 3 years under Pete DeBoer?
Well, before the signing of Bastian, there was a little bit of a fight potentially for the last forward spot for the 13th forward. That is probably locked up now. I mean, we probably know those 13 forwards are going to be, and it'll be a swap between Blackwell and Bastian for whoever's in for that extra spot. But very likely all the guys that were in the AHL last year, as far as forwards go, are going to stay there this year. And you're not going to see any new faces, at least that weren't in the NHL. Bastian obviously will be a new guy on the back end, and you brought back Foxa, so technically a new face, but not really. So, but don't expect anyone from the AHL to make a leap into the NHL roster for game one.
Yeah, and that just kind of adds up with where the prospect pool as a whole is at right now.
And then
go ahead.
Sorry, I was going to say is kind of the same thing for the defensive side. But there might be questions on whether or not it's Kovalchuk or
Kovalchuk. Kolyachonic.
Kolyachonic. Sorry.
Ilya Kovalchuk? I would love that. Are you kidding?
Yeah, no. Yeah. Kovalchuk might not be on the decor, but no. Kolyachonic. Thank you. And Petro. So, and that's going to be weird because, I mean, Petro obviously showed that he can play at this level, but it might more be, does he want to? Like, would he prefer to be in Cedar Park just for the family that he's got down here, the leadership role that he has with the Texas Stars? It'll really depend. And would we be able to even get Kolyachonic to pass waivers to get to the AHL? That's another big question.
I'm not sure if he would, if that did come to fruition. I think he might be picked up because he's still kind of young enough. But I think what you see is what you get with Kolyachonic. I think he's going to be a very good number 6, number 7 guy. I don't want to equate him to Joel Hanley because Joel Hanley was way better at that than he will ever be because he was a perfect number 7 guy.
What is it? But top 4 now.
Well, maybe, and
he is with
Calgary,
the Flames.
Not on a top team, but he's still top 4.
Well, that being said, there's going to be a ton of changes at training camp, and I think it's going to be run very, very differently. I'm actually very excited for that because the thing that will be the most interesting to me is to see what the defensive structure of the team is going to look like. Are they going to still stick with the man-to-man like we saw in the playoffs? Or are they going to do like a hybrid, or are they going straight up zone when they have their defensive coverage in their own zone? Because honestly, that's what screwed us over in the playoffs. I mean, that really is what it was. I mean, Otter played really well. We were getting way better offense than we were the year before. It's just our defense and our defensive structure was kind of hung out to dry by the Edmonton Oilers. And it's our current head coach who kind of did that to us a little bit with the offensive structure of the Oilers. So it'll be very, very interesting to see. Like, maybe he even comes out and says, hey, this is what I did. This is what I did to y'all. So we're going to fix this, and we're going to patch these holes in the boat here. And this is how we're going to patch those holes. We're going to change some of the stuff. That'll be the most interesting change for me, at least.
Yeah. Personnel-wise, not a lot of changes, but system-wise, you probably are going to see a good change on the defensive formation. And I think he's for sure going to get away from the 100% man-on-man that DeBoer was running. And it'll be interesting to see what he and Nazardine put in. It was always a question to me of whether that was what Nazardine preferred to play, was the man-on-man, or if that was more of purely what DeBoer thought was best for his style of hockey. So it'll be interesting to see how that works out.
What do you think, James? Do you think that was more of a DeBoer thing, or do you think that was maybe what Nazardine wanted to do?
We'll probably find out pretty quickly. Not gonna lie.
That's a perfect deflection of I have no idea.
Yep.
But I mean that's fair to say though, because we really won't know until we see training camp start here in the next several days, and moving forward of course in maybe not early on in the preseason, because there's going to be a lot of guys that won't be on the NHL roster playing those games, but very early on in the regular season that it will become very obvious what the changes are on in that aspect. Okay, second biggest storyline for this season going in is Mikko Rantanen. The Mikko Rantanen era has finally arrived in terms of length, I guess you could say. He arrived last year. He exploded onto the scene. I say exploded onto the scene. He didn't really, but definitely in the playoffs, he came to fruition as to who he was and what he could do. And we saw that. Now, with the first full season in Dallas after that blockbuster deal last year, he's probably going to be playing with Hintz and Robertson to begin the year. I think that they're going to probably go heavy on their top two lines, like you said, Chris, and kind of not spread out the offense as much as we saw with Pete DeBoer, at least to begin the year. But what's the ceiling for Mikko Rantanen? Am I crazy when I said that he could get to 100 points again this year along with Robertson, and we could see both of those guys get to 100 points? Could we see him get to, over 50 goals? Like what's the ceiling for Mikko Rantanen, guys?
There is no ceiling. The ceiling's the Hart Trophy for that guy. I mean, he's stepping into a role where he's the number one on this team. He's shown that he can take over games in the playoffs. And really the only thing that we haven't seen him prove yet is that he can play well with Jason Robertson. And if he can figure that out pretty quickly to start this season, that line is going to be one of, if not the best lines in hockey.
Yeah, that should be something really special that plays out. And I mean, even if Robertson doesn't end up working out, you still have other people that you can put there. You can try Sagan there. You can try Johnston there, which is the more obvious one. But it's going to be fun to see who works with Mikko and Hintz together, because I assume that those two are probably going to be the two that are staying together.
That chemistry is pretty good locked in during the playoffs.
And then the same with Duchesne and Sagan. I don't see them breaking up those guys either. So, if Robertson is not working out on the top line, maybe he can play with Duchesne. And Duchesne is similar to Hintz in the fact that, he's got some dangleness to him that could get him the puck. And Robo can kind of put it away a little bit as well. The other thing about this too, and there's a little bit of contract year pressure for two big players in particular for the Dallas Stars, and one is the aforementioned Jason Robertson, who, according to Jim Nell, he is actively trying to sign him. That was the word that he used to describe the contract negotiations with Jason Robertson. And then also Thomas Harley with a huge, gargantuan season. I think one of the biggest steps we saw from any player in the NHL last year. Yep. How does that shape usage, and how does that help with like the lines and camp with both of those guys?
Yeah, I mean, they're both poised to have huge seasons. I mean, last time Robertson had a contract year, he totally went off and had his best year ever. It's been a little bit of a dip since, but maybe he really thrives on that kind of pressure. And it's the year to get paid. Let's take off and do it. I think that's why he's holding out on the contract negotiation a little bit, because he knows he's done it before and he thinks he can have a big season again.
Yeah, I mean, for Robertson, he's really set up to have a fantastic season. He has he's going to get the chance with Rantanen. I mean, that's going to be the obvious first choice. If he can figure out how to make that work even a little bit, because as much as it's Rantanen, if Rantanen can figure that out, it's the same way with Robertson. If he can figure that out, he really could have a 100-point season pretty easily if he spends the whole season on that top line with Rantanen and Hintz.
Yep, agreed.
Well, Ardell over here in the chat saying James and I both think Robertson is about to go off this year. I'm kind of leaning that direction too, because you say he's had a dip, Chris, but he's been a point per game player basically the last 2 or 3 years. So
it was a dip. He was a 100-point player 3 years ago.
That's true. And we've talked about whether that 100-point year was kind of a career year and that was just like the outlier year. He just had a really good year, or if that would be his regular. And so far, that was his outlier year, but maybe he can get back to that.
And the fun thing too is he's healthy for the whole offseason now. And we clearly saw how important that was to him last season. When he came in coming off of that foot injury, he started the season basically without any training camp or anything. And it took him until December to really get going and to just start scoring everything. And if he could start out the season like he started in December, I mean, I don't even think it's a question of if he hits 100.
Yeah. And despite a long postseason, it seems like the Stars in general had a pretty healthy offseason and are really ready to go, which is great for a team that has been so deep in the playoffs 3 years in a row. That's a luxury.
It is a large luxury. The side tangent to this is if we're talking about both of these guys getting over 100 points, which I think that would help a ton, especially with the offense the Stars have lost over the offseason with Marchment, with Granlund, with, whoever else you want to throw in there. Dodonov, he had 20 goals. Rope Hintz, like if they're getting to 100 points, surely he's probably getting to around a point per game status if that happens, right? I almost feel like that is almost a necessary thing for Rope Hintz, because like no one in Dallas questions that he's the number one center for this team. There's no question about it. But the problem with him is that as elite as his defense is and as good as he's known for being a two-way player, the offense really hasn't shown up there in terms of a quote unquote number one center, right? Like we've seen 60, 70 points like that. That's still very good. And I'm not trying to knock him down or anything. But what I'm saying is we brought it up and like numerous times over the offseason. It feels like there's still a step there for that player. And if we don't see it soon, I'm not sure if we'll ever see it from Rope Hintz. So I think he needs to take that step from a really good number one center to elite level status, especially if he's able to play with both Robo and Rantanen getting to 100 points.
And I think the important thing for him is more the goal scoring than anything. Like if he can get 40 goals, but he still stays around 30 assists, that's perfectly fine. I mean, that's more important than anything. He's always been kind of more of a goal scorer than a playmaker.
I'll argue against both of you a little bit here. I think the more important job for Rope on that line is to create space for Robo and Mikko. I mean, his speed. Yeah, man, I am just mixing these names up all over the place tonight. But his speed is really what created the space that Mikko needed in the playoffs to be able to make those types of plays. And whenever Rope was flying, that's when Mikko was at his best as well. So I agree. If that line really is as good as we think it really can be, his points will go up, but that shouldn't be the important thing for him. The important thing for him should be consistent with his two-way play, which he always is, but just fly up the ice, make that space, force the defenders back into their own zone to respect his speed, and give open ice to Mikko and let him do what he proved he can do.
I want to get back to Mato's comment over here too, because this is something that I think is interesting that we should talk about. Nil sees the Kirill stuff going down and wants to get ahead of it, I'm sure. And Mato, what he's talking about is reportedly Kirill Kaprizov of the Minnesota Wild turned down a $16 million a year offer for 8 years. So that's $128 million that he apparently said no thanks to. And the rumor right now is that it's not necessarily the money that was the issue, it was the term. So I don't know what you want to take from that, but Is that fair? Is Monto kind of on hitting the hammer on the nail there? Is that correct?
Yeah, but that's the exact reason why Robo wants to wait until that deal gets done. Like, let's see what the top of the market is, and then we'll see what I can get paid.
Also, Kaprizov's clearly that's Minnesota's whole team right there. The team, the Dallas Stars would survive without Robo. I would not be happy about it. No one would be happy about it, but it's a different situation, drastically different.
Kirill Kaprizov would have won the Hart Trophy if
he
didn't get injured last year.
Yep.
Yes,
absolutely.
And he drugged Minnesota to the playoffs when he got back.
He only played 41 games.
Yep. And how many points did he have, James?
He had 56 points, 25
That is
goals.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
So that's a 112 point pace?
A lot. It's a lot pace.
And he did that playing with Matt Zuccarello. Like, no offense to Matt Zuccarello, but my goodness.
He's pretty old now.
Wait, he's 36, 37?
He's up there.
He's not a first line player.
Well,
anymore.
He's still a first line player with Kaprizov. I'm just saying that.
That's how poverty Minnesota is.
Yeah, he shouldn't be. That is true. I don't know what it is about Bill Guerin and random side tangent with the Wild, but he tried to trade Marco Rossi because Marco Rossi wasn't signing for what he wanted him to. And then apparently he's also asking for a trade list from Kirill Kaprizov as well.
It's the same thing that Nil just did to Robo. They ask for the crazy number, and you throw it back at them and say, hey, I could trade you. Just so you know, I can do that.
Okay, but
they're playing the game.
Yeah, it's a game. Neither of those guys are really going to get traded unless he cements himself in a crazy number like 17, 18 million.
Okay, but didn't we say the exact same thing about Mikko Rantanen? Nah, he's not getting traded.
To be fair, Mikko Rantanen wasn't ready for that.
Well, yeah, and that was not a crazy number. 12 million was a fair deal and it already looks like a good deal now. We're less than a year from Nil signing Mikko to that deal, and it's looking like Robo was going to get more than that if this Kirill Kaprizov stuff is real.
I don't know if he gets up to there, to be honest with you.
I don't think he will.
I don't think he's going to get that up there, but I think just Kaprizov is just absolutely ridiculously important to the Wild, and Robo was not quite to that same extent.
We're going to have to move on. We keep talking about Robo's contract every episode.
Yes. We do keep doing that. Okay. All right, let's move on. Okay, so y'all let us know in the comments below, what's the biggest out of those three things that we've talked about, even though we've gone on some side tangents? What's the biggest storyline? Is it the Glenn Gulutzan return? Is it the Rantanen era day one full season in terms of regular season? Or is it the contract pressure that Robo and Harley are going to be feeling this year? Y'all let us know. Okay, the forward group. We got some top six guys to talk about. And then it looks like there's going to be some musical chairs with some guys in the middle six, it seems like. So it looks like that first line is going to be Robo, Hintz, and Rantanen, and we kind of talked about that already. That's kind of almost cemented at this point, unless you want to throw Wyatt in there, which I think Ardell was kind of hinting at a little bit. But the second line battle in terms of training camp is going to be interesting. I don't even necessarily know if it's just if it's a battle.
Yeah.
It's going to be a rotating cast of characters through that quote unquote number 6 spot on the left-hand side with Sagan and Duchesne. Now, I do want to throw this out here, though. Is Sagan really as cemented in that top 6 role as a lot of people are just assuming that he is? Because I'm assuming that he is, but is he really like entrenched in the top 6 right now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a sniper.
Yeah, go look at his numbers last year. He's a second line forward for sure.
Yeah. Okay. And he played well on the right-hand side with Duchesne, so I don't see any reason for changing that. Now, that being said, who are those most likely guys you're going to see in terms of musical chairs on that second line on the left-hand side?
I think most likely it's going to be Sam Steele to start. And I don't think he necessarily fits there. I don't think he has the skill needed to play with both of those guys necessarily. And maybe he can do the similar kind of thing that I'm talking about that Rope does, but on a lower level. Just getting into the zone, being fast, playing hard, and creating space for the other two guys to make plays and score. And maybe he can do that, and it works out extremely well. But I just think he's not quite up to that level. And I don't think it's going to work. So that's what they're going to try first. I just think it will fail.
Okay, James, what do you think?
Thing that really could be interesting is like Duchesne might end up on the third line just so that Wyatt can still center on the second. But I mean, Bork really, I feel like, should be the one to step into that position. I think with how Bork has always progressed in every league he has ever played in, he always has his first season in is always kind of like, that was good. And then his next season, he's gone off. So that was a trend when he was in juniors. It happened when he went to the AHL. His first season was kind of like, and then he went off the next year and he was the best player in the league. And I'm not saying he's going to be the best player in the NHL, but his progression, it should keep going up. Maybe it started to taper off a bit, but I mean, it makes sense to see him get to 25 or 20 goals, really, is what you're looking at with Maverick Bork. I don't think that's a stretch for him at all this year.
And if he can prove during training camp that he's comfortable on that left side wing, that will for sure give him a much better chance at being on the second line there. Because I don't think Sagan nor Duchesne are really going to want to try and fill that left wing role. But I think a younger player, it's easier for them to try and slot in there like that.
Let me throw this out here because I actually just recently listened to DLLS's interview with Maverick Bork recently. I think within the past week or two. And one of the things that he was asked about by Luds was, and Luds asked him, is like, okay, where do you envision yourself being? Like, and they were kind of talking about this exact kind of question. It's just like, do you see yourself maybe being on that second line on the left-hand side? What if Duchesne is pushed to the left wing side and he plays the left wing side because he did
what
have
was his answer to that question?
Huh? Oh, yeah.
What was Bork's answer to that question?
Well, he wants to play center. So this is why this is where I'm going with this. Put Duchesne on the left wing side, move Wyatt up, and then Bork plays third line minutes in the center position. He would have to be given some grace because he will be making some mistakes there. But if, like you were talking about, James, if we want him to pop off like we've seen history kind of do the last couple of times for him, he did it as a center. He didn't do it as a left winger. And I think that for Duchesne, especially with him kind of, I don't want to say slowing down. He's still not slowing down, but he's got some defensive miscues that Wyatt Johnston doesn't do. And then that also opens up the door for Wyatt Johnston to possibly have a bigger role in terms of being the second line center there. And then it also opens it up for Maverick Bork as well. I mean, is that out of the question for the Dallas Stars? And I know that's a really young center core down the center, especially on your second and third line. But that seems to me like a very good situation if you're the Dallas Stars, if Bork can truly be that third line center.
Yeah, no, it's not a bad idea at all. And I think this training camp is going to be a lot of who can do left wing, like who can play your off wing and be on that left side, because we don't have somebody there right now. And hopefully we can figure that out within the guys we already have. And if we can't, that's going to be something you really have to target at the trade deadline.
The one I really think it would be a mistake to move Duchesne off of center, honestly.
Agreed.
Just with how strong the center depth is with having Hintz, Wyatt, Duchesne. I mean, all three of those dudes scored 30 goals this last season. That is nuts center depth. I think it would just be I think it would just be a mistake. And I see where he's talking about he wants to play center. Almost every single player in the NHL was a center. almost every single one. There are very few exceptions. Robertson being one of them. David Pastrnak, that's another one. Those are exceptions. Those are not the rule. Most of these players, when you're this good, you get put in center. That's what happens. So once
Jamie
you get to
Benn,
elite,
Kirill Kaprizov.
no, literally everyone on our team on Puckpedia has a C by their position except for Jason Robertson. And that's just how this league is.
That's how hockey is. If you're the best player on your team, then you're wearing a C. And if you're in the NHL, you were the best player on your team at some point.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I just thought that would be interesting to see. And I would not be surprised to see something like that.
It would just be tough to mess with. I mean, he was your regular season point leader, and you're going to move him off the center spot. I mean, I know what we saw during the regular season. I 100% get it. It's a tough sell.
Fair enough. I just think it would be nice to see, especially for Bork's sake, to see him get that third line center spot, because honestly, there's no point in him playing fourth line center, right? I mean, it's either
that wouldn't happen. The fourth line is locked up.
Exactly. I mean, there's kind of a log jam in terms of fourth line guys on this team right now. So, and especially in the center spot, because I think like all three of the guys that are probably going to be on the fourth line are really good fourth line centers. So, I mean, Fox, Blackwell, and Oscar Beck. So I think all three of those guys are really good fourth line centers. Okay. The bottom six has kind of been, I don't want to say remixed a little bit, but the identity has definitely changed a little bit. The depth in terms of offensive skill is not as much there anymore. And it is completely 100% obvious when you look at the bottom six. You've got Sam Steele, who could possibly be in the bottom six. Maverick Bork, again, one of those two guys is probably going to be between the second and third line. And then you still got Colin Blackwell. You've got Roddick Foxa. We talked about Oscar Beck, who had a really good rookie season last year for the Dallas Stars in terms of defensive structure for the team. So what are you looking at in terms of this bottom six and what their identity is going to be? Are you still wanting to get some offense out of the bottom six? I mean, I know we all do, but is it more we just want them to drive play, get some momentum going, play that defensive style, and let all the other guys kind of handle the offense? So what do y'all see out of this bottom six group?
The bottom six is the complete incorrect way to think about it, because the third and fourth lines are going to be totally different. The fourth line is locked in as it's a checking line again. It's back. I mean, we tried the scoring fourth line and it was okay, but we're back to a checking line. We got big guys. I mean, if you put Bastian in there, you could have the potential of all three guys on the fourth line being 6'4". That's massive.
Scary.
That's a huge line. So, and conversely, I mean, you switch out Blackwell, you lose 6 inches in one spot. Like, that's pretty wild. But the third line is absolutely going to be a scoring line. I mean, you're going to have, if Wyatt Johnston is still there, which is what we're kind of expecting right now, at least to start the season. I mean, it has to be a scoring line. You can't have Wyatt Johnston not scoring goals. If that's happening, you're not winning games.
What do you think, James?
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. The only problem that creeps in is if you really can't find anyone to play that left wing, and you just have to throw Johnston up there on the second line, and then you're just running with 2 scoring lines. And then the other
third line is
forced. Your third line becomes a checking line as well. So what that ends up being. You at that point your
third line becomes a bad checking line.
Yeah, you're basically going to end up seeing like 6 forwards with like almost 20 minutes ice time, and the other 6 are going to have like 7 each. Maybe.
Well, I hope not, to be honest with you. I really truly hope not, but we'll have to wait and see. For the next several years, that Rantanen trade is going to be the moment when this franchise kind of shifted perspective, right? So when they got Rantanen, they completely shifted their idea and the fact that, okay, let's run these 4 lines and I mean, they had to trade away players in order to keep Rantanen's contract on the books and to be able to keep a full roster. I mean, Marchment goes to Seattle. He gets traded there. Evgeny Dodonov signs a contract with the New Jersey Devils. Obviously, the other direction, Stankoven, he gets an 8-year deal for $6 million per from the Carolina Hurricanes after he is traded there. So the Stars traded depth to get a superstar player. And now that superstar player has to show that he's a superstar player, which at least for the short term, it appears that he can be and can continue to be for the next 8 years. So that's going to be the biggest thing moving forward over the next 5 to 10 years. Okay, did that work? And we're going to find out at least with this year over for the season coming up here very soon. So okay, so last second thing before we move on to the blue line, but who is the second line left winger to start the regular season? Are you still on Steele, Chris?
I'm on Sam Steele. That'll be it on an opening night.
I'll say that they start Bork there. Honestly, I feel like that. he's gonna get the shot at least to start the season. It's probably gonna be a short leash though, unless he just really impresses at training camp.
I'm gonna say Nils Lundkvist. No, I'm just kidding. Although that might actually help him with his offense. I think it's gonna be Wyatt Johnston. That's gonna be my guess, and I think that we're gonna see some weird line combos in the bottom six and in the bottom six forward. So we'll have to wait and see. I think they go top heavy at least to begin. Okay, the blue line. Let's talk about the blue line here real quick. The Dallas Stars blue line has quite literally not really changed. I mean, it's the same group. The question is going to be, can Harley continue to be a 1B, because he's no longer a number 2, I don't believe. I think he's a 1B to Miro's 1A. And then the other question for Heiskanen is, can he stay healthy first off? And then second off, can he maybe add in some offense with some of the depth that the Stars have lost on the in the front 12 in terms of forwards? I think that's going to be some of the biggest questions, at least in terms for the blue line. But what do y'all see moving forward with this blue line?
Yeah, I think the main question is going to be, is Lundkvist or Bichsel going to be able to step up in this system that Gulutzan implements for the defense? I think Bichsel has a better chance of doing it. He was already relied upon a ton in his rookie year, where he started with the Texas Stars, and once he got to the NHL, there was no looking back for him. So I think if you're going to pick one of those, I'd say Bichsel's the one that's most likely going to step up there. But I mean, Lundkvist, he was looking a lot better last year. He didn't have the offense, but before he got injured, it finally looked like he was going the right direction. The other one is going to be Lyubushkin. I mean, he's playing higher than you really would want him to. I think he'd be a really solid third pair guy. He showed during stretches during the season that he could play higher up in those pairings, even playing on the top pair for a while when Heiskanen was out. But it's obvious, especially when the playoffs came around, he's much better in limited use. So how good can Lyubushkin be when he's a little higher than he ought to be?
What do you think, James?
I mean, yeah, I pretty much agree. I think I'm definitely a little more high on Nils Lundkvist than Chris is, but I really think just the structure in which the defense plays is going to change, especially those lower bottom 3, bottom 2 defensemen, how well they look, honestly. Because if you have your bottom pairing also playing with the fourth line that we're expecting it to be, it's going to be easier to play with that. Because especially Fox, he makes defense easier, I feel. I mean, he just has such a solid defensive game.
Some in the comments are saying they're kind of over the whole lefty-righty thing. Are y'all at that point as well?
Well, unfortunately, they have no choice to try and be lefty-righty. So They're all left-handed, and they're just going to have to deal with it.
All left-handed, and we have more left-handers coming.
Right.
Right. Well, I agree with you to a certain aspect, Chris, but if they're still going to make a bigger deal out of this whole lefty-righty thing, they still have that option to do so. Because if you do play Harley with Miro, which I think that's probably how it's going to start off with, honestly, because they just play too well together, then we could see Bush playing on the second pairing on that right side, and then maybe Lundkvist plays on the third pairing on the right side. I don't know. But there's a lot of hope here, I think. But the problem is that it's hope. It's not solidified. There's a lot of
players are
here.
Good. The defensive players we have are very good. It's just,
are they Stanley Cup caliber?
Well, at times when they play together, they look worse than hey, if everyone could just play with Esa Lindell, they would look like the best defenseman in the league, But you only have so many Esa Lindells to go around, and I feel like that's really gonna. That's really gonna be the difference. Who plays with who? I really feel like that chemistry made a lot of difference, especially for Bichsel in the playoffs. Playing with Petrovic, that was a huge thing for him. I think that's a big reason why Petrovic got into the lineup too, because they just played so well together as a unit.
Yeah, and they were so good together that he actually played over Lyubushkin in the playoffs, which is shocking. So, and yeah, back to the pairs thing. It is super important. It's going to be interesting to see how it shakes out. Ryan, I tend to agree with you. I think Harley Miro as your top pair just works well. I think it fits the style of the team to be puck moving and to get up the ice and to really rely on your top players the way we think they will this year. And then when was Lundkvist playing his best last year? I think it's when he was playing with Lindell. When he had a security blanket back there, he was free to make passes and not worry too much about it, because he knew, hey, even if I do screw it up a little bit, Esa Lindell's back there and he can still bail me out at the end of the day. So I think that's going to be the connection that they try to go with, even though, I think skill-wise, that's kind of high and low.
That hurts Bischel's chances, though, and that kind of hampers his development a little bit, right?
It might. So that would leave Bichsel and Lyubushkin as potentially your bottom pair, bruiser pair, maybe.
That's pretty good, though, honestly.
That's right. So that would be great for a bottom pair. But I agree. I don't love it because I'd rather Bichsel get more action and be a little bit more relied upon, because I think he can. I think he can be a top 4 guy. And just with the handedness thing, if they do rely on it too much, it might hamper him, because they've got 3 amazing left-handed defensemen already. It would be hard to put Bichsel up there in the top 4 because he's left-handed. You have all 4 lefties in the top 4. That'd be difficult.
And then that forces, Lyubushkin and or Lundkvist to play on the left side as a right-handed.
And they have to play on their offside. You just have 3 people playing on their off. It doesn't make sense is the problem. But I don't think that's why I'm out on the handedness mattering argument, because our 4 best defensemen, I think, are all lefties. And I think that's just going to have to be okay.
So in terms of depth on the blue line, it looks really good. You've got Kolyachonok, who is, again, he's a good depth piece for somebody who could jump in if need be. Obviously, Petrovic is still here. That is the biggest security blanket probably in the NHL, considering how the Stars have relied upon him so much in the past 2 playoff runs to the Western Conference Final. And then even Kyle Capobianco, that'll be interesting to see if he gets another shot at the NHL level, because he got a shot last year and it didn't look too good in that one game. So for his sake, I hope he gets another shot. But if he gets another shot, that means that the Stars' defensive depth is really being tested. So at the same time, I kind of don't want to see him up with the big boy club.
And not to transition us to the prospect game, but to try to, Trey Taylor is pretty fantastic. And you really might see him. Yeah, if you see Harley or Heiskanen go down and you need a puck moving replacement for maybe a little bit longer than we would like to see, Trey Taylor would be a fantastic plug-in because, I mean, obviously he was fantastic tonight. And the end of the AHL season where he hopped in an ATO with the Texas Stars, he immediately was one of the best defensemen and at least the second best puck mover, maybe better than Capobianco at times.
I think that he is a potential number one defenseman for the Texas Stars this upcoming season. I mean, I see that 100%.
There's a lot of good defensemen on the Texas Stars now, but yes, he's definitely fighting for that spot.
In terms of like all aroundedness and like two-way play, he seems like a guy who's got both. He can play defensively and he's got the offensive talent. And he showed it tonight, especially in the third period against the Red Wings prospects. That was a lot of fun to watch him. And I think was that him that made the pass to Martineau?
No, actually showing up Trey Taylor at the end there, Tristan Bertucci. That probably that's probably the most highly touted NHL prospect. Still younger. Trey Taylor came out of college, so he's already I think he's already 21 right now. So he's 23.
Oh, we were all wrong.
Wow. So yeah, barely a prospect at that age, honestly. I mean, even coming straight out of college, it's tough to call you a prospect when you're that old. Tristan Bertucci's 19, James, is that right? Or no, he's 20 now.
He's 20.
Yeah, so he is still very much got a lot of development to go. And as far as who might be an NHL regular, Tristan Bertucci is probably the guy that has a better chance.
And guess what? They both shoot left, so
yeah,
give up on that dream.
Okay, well, we just have to talk about goaltending left, but real quick, since we're already here on the prospect games and stuff like that. Was there anybody that kind of stuck out to you guys in terms of the prospect games? Because there was a couple, but I want to know specifically, Chris, I want to know your thoughts.
Yeah, I thought it was a great prospect game for the Texas Stars. I mean, the players that did well there are guys who you're going to kind of rely upon to add some more depth scoring that they didn't have a ton of last year. And it's going to be really important to try and replace Matej Blumel. So I thought Artem Schlane was fantastic this game. He played really well. And he's a guy who might get that third line center role, and that's going to need to add some there. Someone even further down, Caleb Pearson, he was with Idaho Steelheads, the ECHL team, so the AA team for the Dallas Stars. I thought he was actually fantastic in this game, so that'll be a good depth piece for the Texas Stars throughout the season, having somebody down there like that. And then also Angus McDonnell, who's another person who has a good chance of getting to the NHL. Actually, he's just got out of juniors. He's 20 as well. He looked fantastic in these games. Really showed off the shot. I feel like in these two prospect games, he has got an NHL caliber shot for sure. The only problem is he's 5'10", and he's got to overcome that. And he's not particularly fast either. But he's got kind of that Logan Stankoven dog in him, that he's going to scrounge for pucks. I didn't think he showed it a ton during these two games, but if he can really lean into that, that might be his way to get to the NHL. So keep an eye on McDonnell.
James, what did you see anybody in particular that stuck out to you?
I mean, I had a blast just like y'all did watching Trey Taylor. I mean, he's very silky smooth.
He's so fun to watch.
Puck. So that'll be a fun one to see if he can kind of break into bottom pairing at some point this year if people go down. I thought Cameron Schmidt, which was our third round pick, right?
Yep.
From this season, he's very small, which is why he went so far in the draft. But I see why people are excited about him. When he has the puck, he looks incredible. I mean, his stick handling is A+. It's just every other part of his game looks kind of like
Well, but that again, he's what, 18? So like 18, 19?
I think so. Yeah.
So
that's something that could be really fun to watch play out. I mean, the defense can always be taught. We saw that with Harley, especially.
But you can't teach size, and he's 5'8", so that's going to be tough to overcome. The other one I would say was kind of disappointing was Emil Hemming. I didn't think he really looked particularly good in either of these games, and I was worried about it. He didn't have a great junior year last year as well. So yeah, I think he was the only first round pick for the Stars there.
He was the only first round pick for the Stars there. Yep.
Yeah, and he wasn't the best player on the ice.
And the thing is that the best players on the ice for the Stars were some of the older ones, like Trey Taylor, which he should have been, and he was one of the better ones.
Yeah.
I don't know why he stuck out to me so much, guys, but our 6th round pick from this past year, Dawson Sharkey. I don't even know if he played in the game tonight. I didn't get to watch all of it, but I loved watching him last night in the Saturday game. Like it was so much fun to watch just how he plays. And I can't explain anything else other than just purely eye test. I enjoyed watching him play.
And just one more thing. Really impressive that the Stars won one of these 2 games.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
their roster was much less impressive than the Red Wings roster. Red Wings had guys that were integral for the Griffins last year in the AHL. The Stars didn't have really anybody who was a big part of the Texas Stars AHL run. I mean, Branson Nygaard was the top center for the Grand Rapids Griffins last year and was their best player. And he was playing in this tournament, and the Stars still found a way to win it. So really impressive by the new Texas Stars coach Peterson there.
And then there was also Danielson and Axel Sandin Pellikka, who is supposed to be a really good defenseman.
And Amadeus
for the
Lombardi,
Red Wings.
who's fantastic.
Yes, Lombardi, and he was a 4th round pick, I think. And he was, I think out of all the prospects, he was the most noticeable for me over these 2 games. So, and especially Saturday. Saturday, he was fantastic. But in terms of the rest of the roster, there wasn't a huge amount that kind of really stood out to me other than the ones that y'all already mentioned. It was Dawson Sharkey was the only one that I really liked yesterday that I saw. So,
yeah. But good couple of games for the Texas Stars. I mean, that's really encouraging for a team that has a lot of returning people. And it seems like with these guys that showed up in a big way, you can fill in a lot of what you lost with Blumel.
And it's going to be really good for it's going to be really good. It was really good for Toby Peterson, the new head coach of the Texas Stars, to kind of get a foot in the door there a little bit with just some test subjects for this weekend. So that's fun to know that he's going to be there, and it's going to be a lot of fun to watch him and Maxim Fortunas and the rest of the Texas Stars coaching staff see what they can do with the players this upcoming season for the Texas Stars. Because I mean, they got close. They got very, very close to getting to the Calder Cup finals. So we'll have to wait and see how they do this year. And Chris is going to be covering all of that for 100 Degree Hockey. So
yeah,
make sure
the team is still really good. I mean, they've got
as good
a chance as anyone to get back and try to win the Calder Cup.
And with the logjam of all the vets that they've got, that the Dallas Stars have, I mean, Huru is still going to be there, and he was so critical for the Texas Stars. Same thing with Retzkovian. Ritzy is going to be he's probably going to go off this year. I mean, over a point per game player, possibly, Chris.
Yeah, for sure. And he's probably your first call up to Dallas if there's an injury in the forward
I
group.
would 100% expect that. Yes. It depends on who gets hurt.
Right. If it's a skill guy, it'll be Retzkovian. If it's a 4th line guy, it'll probably be Huru.
Yeah, Huru is a little bit more defensively responsible, but
big
and enormous. Yes, that is true. Okay. Really quick, let's talk about the goaltending here, and then we'll wrap everything up here tonight. The only thing I see with the goaltending is that I'm worried about is the depth in terms of 1 through 6 in terms of all the 3 teams that are in the Dallas Stars system. I mean, obviously I'm not worried about either one of the goalies with Casey DeSmith or Jake Ottinger. I think we're going to see a little bit less usage of Jake Ottinger this year. 1, because I think he needs to be more ready for the playoffs. And 2, I think he's going to be used by Team USA at the Olympics. So I think that's going to have some issue there as well. I don't even know if Jake plays 60 games this year. I think he's going to be around the 50 to 55 mark just because of how good Casey DeSmith was last year. And with the fact that the schedule this year is just nuts. The like with how quick games are and how often that they are. And I mean, there's numerous times where the Stars have 3 games in 4 nights, or they have back-to-backs. I think they have like 9 this year, or something nuts like that. It's a lot. So in terms of usage, I think that's going to be the thing to look at in terms of the NHL tandem. But like I said, with the depth chart, Remy Poirier is their number 3. And no offense to Remy Poirier, he was very good for the Texas Stars and the Calder Cup run, but I don't know if he's what you would call a true number 3 in an organization in terms of, can he come up and, you know, in an emergency situation, give you a good game in the regular season at the NHL level. And that's partially not his fault because he hasn't really been given that chance yet. But from what I've also seen at the AHL level, I'm not convinced. So that's the only thing I have question wise with the goaltending in the organization right now. But I mean, sorry, I talked a long time about all of that stuff. But what do y'all see with the goaltending aspect of this team right now?
Well, first of all, Poirier definitely has the skill to be a third goalie in the organization, even a backup in the NHL. And he's shown that at times in the AHL. But that's really the problem, is the consistency for him. He can go on like long 5-8 game stretches of being one of the best goalies in the AHL, and then he can flip it around, do the exact same thing, and not get it above an 850 for 3 games. So it's really the consistency that he needs to figure out. It's more between the ears thing. And that's the hardest part about the goaltending position, unfortunately. But
Right.
if he can figure that out, he really can be a solid goaltender for this organization. But I would say you're correct that if there is a goalie problem, as long as it's not super extended, you're probably not going to see Poirier, even if he does get the call up.
Like, let's assume the worst, and let's say that Ottinger gets hurt for a month or so. He's gonna have to play at some point, right?
I mean, when we what was it, 2 years ago where Blackwell played, like
Wedgwood.
What was it? Wedgwood played like 15
for 2
straight
months.
games.
Yeah.
That poor guy.
To be fair, though, 1 month this year is 15 games.
Yeah, that's true. Like that's a lot. That's a lot. So I just the biggest thing for me is you got to conserve Ottinger for the playoffs. That's
and you have no excuse because Casey DeSmith was fantastic. Like, you have to play Casey DeSmith.
Yes, and I don't even think that the Stars really care about where they end this season. Like, I mean, obviously you want to be top 3, but like the idea of wanting to be first in the division, I don't think is the end all be all. I mean, Florida has won the cup the last 2 years, and they were not the best team in the regular season by a long shot. Especially this past season, they just kind of coasted. Like it was really interesting to watch them down the stretch in the regular season, and everyone was like, "Oh, well, the Tampa Bay Lightning are playing really well going into the playoffs, and the Florida Panthers are all banged up and they're not playing all that great." And that didn't matter even in the slightest. Like Florida handled them very easily in the first round.
Yeah, that was not a series.
Yeah, it was not close. It was never close. So it will just be interesting to see what the usage will be by Glenn Gulutzan. And he even said himself that in the introductory press conference as the head coach that he's going to be looking at options like that about, you know, using Jake Ottinger less. And so don't be surprised if Jake Ottinger does not get as many starts this year as he did last year, because even though he didn't necessarily play as many games as Connor Hellebuck, I think he's top 5 in terms of starts over the last 3 years in the NHL, if I remember correctly. I think he might be number 3.
He's easily up there. I think he's 3rd as well, behind Hellebuck and person
Vasilevsky?
No, person from Nashville.
Saros. UC
Saros.
Saros.
Yes, thank you.
That makes sense. Yes. Okay. So, we'll have to wait and see. But there's a lot of questions that I'm very excited to be to get answered, and we will see that at least some of these questions be answered this week. And the first Dallas Stars preseason game will be Saturday, and I believe it's against the St. Louis Blues.
That's correct.
And I think it's in Dallas, if I remember correctly, as well. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm trying to figure out how to get to go to that game, but we'll have to wait and see. But anyways, guys, that's gonna wrap it up here for us tonight. James, Chris, thank you guys for all your insight and for talking hockey tonight. But y'all got anything else before we wrap it up?
No, go green team.
Go green team. Go UNT.
Nope, wrong one.
Hey, wait, Chris, real quick. How about them Aggies, right?
Yeah, never.
How about them Aggies?
Easy
First-
peasy.
Out. Oh, if only everyone knew how that game went.
Oh man.
Yeah, great defense, huh?
Yeah. 81 points, man. Hey, you get the win. How you get the win? Who cares? How you get it, right?
Boring game.
Boring game, absolutely.
Extreme.
Thank everybody for joining along with us live here. If you are, there's even more of you that are listening afterwards. Make sure you click like and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. Give us a 5-star review if you're listening on your favorite podcast platform of choice. Thanks once again to DraftKings Sportsbook. Use that promo code THPN and follow us on social media anywhere and everywhere at StarcasticR. Alongside James, alongside Chris, my name's Ryan. We'll catch you guys on the flip side. Hope y'all have a fantastic morning, afternoon, evening. Whenever you guys are listening, hockey is returning and is just around the corner. Thank you guys.